Alright, this is the first time I've done a video like this. I got the pumps with me, and I'm going to be going through a quick upgrade to my fork. I am replacing the air spring in this with a nicer one. This is a 2018 Lyric. Came as an RC1, but I got the RC3 damper in it, so I have the low speed compression, high speed compression, rebound adjustments. Very nice fork. I don't actually have any major problems with it, but it's not a very expensive upgrade. At the end of this video, I'll do a review of how it rides before and after. So yeah, let's dive into it. First thing you're going to want to do, anytime you're working with oils, be it brakes or the oils in your fork, you want to get anything rotor and brake pad related out of the way. So I'm just going to do that by removing my wheel. I do not need it. And then I'm also going to remove the brake. You always want to take note what direction your brake adapter is mounted if you have one. This one has a handy arrow pointing towards the top of the fork. Alright, so now that that's out of the way, I do recommend using zip ties. Zip ties are very handy when working on your bike. Alright, step one out of the way. Next thing you're going to want to do is remove all the air pressure from your fork. So, you may be tempted just to take a knife to the back of the tire lever and just press the valve to let all the air out. And while that does work, the only way to really get all the air out is to get a valve core removal tool, specifically one that has these straighter valve core removable. And then you're going to want to take it out. You can do it kind of slowly, otherwise it'll tend to want to launch the valve core. Half of this is. Valve core is very tiny. You don't want your dogs eating it. Or you don't want to lose it. Okay, so now the fork should be completely empty. Hi pups, you can watch. Okay. Next thing you're going to do is get to the bottom, so I'm going to rotate my bike. Okay, with that, next you're going to want to get these guys off. See if I remember to do that from my bike shop days. It's just simple Allen bolts. These Rockshox are really easy to work on. There's nothing special that you need. So the first thing you have to do is remove your rebound adjuster knob. The best thing to do is figure out what speed you're at. So I like to go all the way closed and count how many clicks. So I'm 14 clicks from closed, and I would highly recommend writing that down because you will forget. Alright, now that's done, turn it all the way open. And go ahead and remove it. So you unscrew the set screw, you don't have to go out all the way, or you can. And he comes off. We'll start with the air, the spring side, and you're just going to break this guy loose. You can tell that hasn't been done in a second. And then you're just going to take this guy almost, well, it's too easy. Just go all the way out, but then you want to put it back in just a few turns. And then you go to this end of something. Okay, for the next step, you're you're going to need a soft mallet. Please do not use a hard mallet. Your mechanic will thank you, or you'll thank yourself later next time you work on this. Use a hard mallet, it'll screw up. The head of this will be hard to get an Allen wrench in. So I forgot that, I'm going to go grab it. Oh, puppies. That's mine. Excuse me, puppy. Thank you. Oh, it's all slobbery. You done slobbered it, girl. Okay. Mallet acquired. Puppies also acquired. Hi, buddies. What you're going to do, there we go. Gently, I guess for this much force as is necessary. It shouldn't take a while. You're going to hit these. That's why you want to make sure they're in a few threads so you're not banging on just those outer threads. Right? You want to make sure it's a good couple turns in. And you're going to hit these. And this is releasing the pressure in the seals for the internals so you can pull your lowers off. And sometimes it leaks. So I have a cardboard box. These cardboard boxes are not oil-proof, but you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. Alright, so now you see that one go in. That one's loose. And then you do the same thing over here. Again, be careful. And it's loose. Rebound side. You gotta remember this stuff. If it helps to label it, do that. I'll get little baggies. I've done this a lot, so I'm not gonna forget. Air side. Boom. This is the messy part. Okay. From here, very simple. No. You're all white. I don't want oil. You're just gonna pull it. Sometimes you have to support it. There we go. Very careful. Set that aside. I have rags over here you can't see. Put that somewhere safe. I'm just not gonna make a mess. Did you lick this? I'm gonna watch the footage and see if you licked it. I'm gonna find out. Part we're replacing sits right here on your air side. Sits in there like so. Now, at this point, you can tell this is a wee bit longer. Part of that is this sits up there a tiny bit. Most of that is because this is for a 170mm fork. This is a 160mm fork. So yes, I'm increasing travel by 10mm. Now, do I need that? No. It's going to be fun though. And the other point is upgrading this part. You just get a lot better components. A lot newer. I'll talk more about it later and once I get the old one out. So the only thing holding this in is a little clip ring, snap ring, I think is the official word for it. So you do need a special set of pliers. This is the first time you really need specialized tools, I guess other than a soft mallet and some Allen wrenches. So once again, I forgot that. I'm gonna go grab that. Be right back. So there's a snap ring that holds this in place. And you basically just have to get down in here. It helps if you put your head on backwards. You'll come in here, you'll grab the snap ring, and you will just carefully remove that guy, and there she is. So it looks like this. And that's all that holds it in. Now, put this in a clean place. Just like that. And it's out. Okay, so, now you can really see the difference. Old versus new. One of the biggest differences is this right here. And what that's going to do, what are you guys doing? What that's going to do is, it has the fork sit a little higher in its travel. To increase small bump sensitivity, we're also going to have a fresh bottom out. Bump stock essentially is what that is. Not that different, but fresh. And then the internals are better. So not just new, but upgraded components. So, there we go. next thing you're going to want to do is take your new air spring. You'll notice it's extremely dry compared to the old one. The seals, the bump stop, everything about it. So, SRAM recommends their in-house, of course, SRAM butter. I like to use Slick Honey. There's a couple other brands you can use. Just get something that's specifically designed for suspension components, something that's pretty thin. Slick Honey works pretty well. So, what you're going to do, get your lube of your choice. Again, just not a generic bike lube like a park tool. So I'll use this on a lot of other parts. And it works great, but it's thick. You don't want this in your fork. So, get your Slick Honey, and you're just going to lather this thing on there. So, next thing you're going to want to do, set this somewhere extremely clean. You're going to want to get in here and just clean out any kind of old grease up in here. Now, if you have a dowel that you can wrap around the towel, get it up in there, that's the best. Second best is to do what I'm doing. Get as far as you can get with your finger up in there, and you just wipe it out. Now, if you have the tools, if you have a cassette tool, or some forks take like a big set of adjustable pliers, but if you can get the top of your air can off, you can look from the top and clean it out too. That's not going to hurt. The cleaner it is, the better. But for me, I know this fork was just serviced. It's super clean, not a lot coming off my towel. So I'm just going to move forward with this and go to the next step. Rotate the bike, get a little better angle on the next stuff we're going to do. So this is the light oil that SRAM recommends, and this is what you'll use in the lowers. They recommend a heavy version of this for the uppers. And again, uppers are, these are your uppers, but the oil goes on the inside of the uppers. So they recommend 3 milliliters of the heavyweight version of this. Now, I didn't want to buy both, so I'm going to use the lightweight version. I don't necessarily recommend that, but it's only 3 milliliters, so it's not that much. By my calculation, it's close to a half a teaspoon. So I'm going to put about a half teaspoon to be just under 3 milliliters. That's okay because this is a thinner oil, so we're going to do that. I'm just going to pour that right in there. Shoot. Sweet. Alright. Then, the next thing I want to do here is, okay, make sure your hands are clean. Very carefully, grab your freshly lubed spring, and this is going to take quite a bit of force. So, depending on the rack you have and how secure it is, you are going to probably have to brace the back of it. Get your Slick Honey or whatever suspension lube you are using. And just dab the crap out of this. Right, especially if it's your own bike. Everything can be perfectly precise and everything should be perfectly precise. However, if you're barely off, so I mean we're looking at millimeters here, right? So if you're 20 mils instead of 25 mils, it's not going to be the end of the world. Now I will say, this part is somewhat difficult. Let's see. You don't want to crown anything on your suspension, unless it's also rubber. So, very carefully, no prying, very carefully come straight back with this. Because it does take quite a bit of force to get in. Boom, just like that. So again, only use something rubber. You don't want to mar up anything. You don't want to mar up your stanchions. Okay? You don't want to mar up this. Anything that's going to be moving, don't want it to mar, want it to be lubed, want it to be clean. So the next thing you're going to want to do is clean the stanchion. And the reason I'm using a microfiber towel, again, you don't want any kind of micro scratches on here. So microfiber towels are very tightly knit. It's very soft. Now there's no exact orientation of this, but there is, I can't see my camera, there is a groove that you're going for. It's just inside there. Just like that. Now you want to make sure when this pops out, you want to make sure that it's in the groove it's supposed to be. And the only way you can tell that is kind of looking and seeing how thick the ring is. And when it snaps in, there should be an audible clip, but to make sure you're actually in the groove, there should also be part of the thickness of that outer ring covered. That way you know you're in the groove and you're not just sitting on the inside of the stanchion. So the next step now is you're going to grab your lowers that you took off way back when, and you're going to clean them out thoroughly, right? Inside, outside, clean out that oil, dirt, anything off that. And then I will catch up with you after that. Next thing you want to do is get your slick honey again, or your SRAM butter, or whatever you happen to be using. We're going to go in. You're going to get a healthy glob of this. Take out the glob, put it on your inside of your dust seals. Get all the way down, there's a little foam piece that goes underneath your dust seal. Make sure you get that as well. Same thing on the other side. That's just going to help everything go nice and smooth. And then, get to the point where you put this on. Helpful tip, do not put this on backwards. I've done that a ton of times. So really, the only way to do this is you just very carefully go over these, so that, and when you hit the stanchions, it's going to be kind of tight, right? And that's by design. The dust seals are on there fairly good. So you just kind of work it back and forth. I like to get one side, and then I'll go grab the other side. So you'll slide and you'll hear it hit those. Don't push those all the way in. So just kind of slide till you hear it hit your damper and your spring, and then stop there. So the next thing you want to do is put oil. Stripe's pretty easy. They just suggest this maximum flush dynamic oil light for both blowers, 10 milliliters. Now, once again, as I mentioned earlier, if you have a syringe that measures in milliliters, use that. These holes are tiny. I've never done it with this, but this is a 1 teaspoon measurement. About 4 of these bad boys per is going to be 10 milliliters. So, once you've got your oil in there, keep your pipe tilted like so. You can come back here, grab your bolts. Hopefully you remembered which was which. So, these can kind of be a butt to get back in. And that's really all I have to say about that. Just kind of look where you're at on the just hopefully it works. So I got that one in. This one's got a ways to go. Now, if you can't get them both, there's some tricks. I got them both. But make sure you have your rebound dampening turn. Make sure you have your rebound dampening turned all the way loose first. That is the biggest help. Otherwise, it's going to be real hard to compress this to get it. It's easy to compress the air side. No air in there. Pretty hard to compress this if you have it jacked all the way up. So, easiest way was that first step I did was loosen this all the way out to its fastest setting, so it's the easiest to push. So, if you pull up the service manual for your specific fork, get the gear right, model, it'll have the torque specs, bottom bolts, 5mm X, and it is saying 7.3 newton meters. So I'm gonna grab my torque wrench. These are very important to get the right torque. I would not want to mess around with over torquing these. certainly don't want them loose. So please torque this. If you're in a pinch, you can rent torque wrenches from an auto shop store. I don't know if they'll go low enough. Then repeat on this side. So go slowly with the torque wrench. There you go. But in most normal cases, you put this on, it torques to about 2 Newton meters, and that's why I say you gotta torque this thing. It is barely torqued. Next step is get it back off the rack on the ground. You're gonna take your valve core you moved earlier. You're just gonna drop it in there. Valve core removal tool. You're just gonna tighten her up. And don't go too tight in this. You just need it enough to make a seal. So really your finger tightening. Not even wrist tightening, finger tightening. And then you're gonna get whatever shock pump you have. So when you pump this up, don't just go up to whatever pressure you had this at. So I had mine at like 82 PSI. So I'm gonna go up about 20 PSI and then you're gonna cycle it. And then you're gonna pump it up about 20 PSI. Alright, so now I've done about 20. So I'm going to take it, just cycle it as much as you can. You don't need to get a full cycle. But this just helps make sure things aren't going to be sticking. Everything's working properly. And you're going to do another 20 PSI. So now that's like that. I'm going to throw my cap on. I'm going to take it for a ride, and then I'll probably check back in and do a little post-ride review.